Oh boy, I am filled with crab rangoon. Filled with it. Okay, I believe we are live and functioning on everything. Been home about 4 minutes. That's how long it takes me to set this up and get everything going. Obviously, time is of the essence here. 47 minutes to go. So a couple notes about today's show in the interest of full disclosure. I worked on this slate for several hours last night, so I'm basically up to date on everything with the exception of the pricing. I did not have time, as I thought I was going to today, to get through the pricing in the site deal specifically. So that's going to be simply a weak spot in my analysis here. I'm loading up those sites now, and we'll get to that. Again, we're sitting on 47 minutes. I've had several people ask me, how much should I play? So I'm presuming there will not be significant overlay, although looking at that main $4 on FanDuel, that might hit somewhere, and then taking a look at the main $8 on DK is only a little more than half filled with 45 minutes to go. So I'm guessing it will, again, rake, but not fully. But yeah, full disclosure, I'm not going to try to do projections because it would be that or the show, basically, and the projections wouldn't be as good because there's been a lot of news, a lot of things have changed, and I'd rather not do it than do it poorly. So I apologize. My favorite time of the year, I want to help everyone as much as I can, but don't want to do it shittily. So I'm going to do a show 16 out of 16 days. I'm going to do projections 15 out of 16 days. I had 3 people complain to me in the last half hour, like, I just signed up, I can't believe I'm not getting projections. I appreciate that. I apologize. If you seek a refund, I'll certainly make sure to expedite that. Simply nothing I could do. I do expect to do it the remainder of the time, but for those of you who are disappointed, I sincerely apologize. Ended up being entirely outside my control. Yeah, but on a scale of 1 to 10, whereas normally I do however much time is required for me to be completely up to date on everything, I normally think I get to a 10. Right about now I'm in 8. And I'm a big fan of saying that because in the interest of full disclosure, if that affects the amount that you're going to play, I don't want to, I want full disclosure about it because there's more games, and whereas I'm very comfortable with the teams, everything going on with the news and the leaky floors and all that shit is a little sticky. So what I'm going to do first here is just sort of go through the teams, talk about them generically, 1 minute, 2 minutes each, basic analyses of them. A couple of them we're seeing for the first time in the preseason. Just a couple things I wanted to point out, how I expect the rotations to go for those we haven't talked about, their previous histories, what their coaches' tendencies tend to be, and then get into some specific pricing question, which you're going to have to help me with. We're going to do that on the fly. Project some rotations out and try to do a decent job of where we're going. Yes, Andy, I got several of your DMs. Thank you to Andy and 3 or 4 other people who did an excellent job of plying me with news as the day went on because they knew that my time was constrained. Okay. Slate in general, again, comparing game to game, the games get faster as the day progresses, which has a lot to do with the geography in the West Coast versus the East Coast. How much will the Lakers starters play? I would guess to the realm of 18 to 20 minutes. The Lakers have 6 preseason games. 6. They play the Nuggets, who are also playing their first preseason game, but they have 4. And the Nuggets have a couple guys out. Lakers basically all hands on deck. Anyhow, I'm getting through and acclimating the news and putting my notes in here, but I'm going to do it in order. But as far as pace goes, if you look at the over-under of these 4 games, it does get progressively greater. It goes like 198, 208, 212, 216 for these 4 games. Now, that is far less relevant than expected minutes. If 2 players are equal, the difference between a 208 and a 216 ends up being all of 4% production, so that's the difference between 20 minutes and 20.8 minutes. So a guy playing 22 minutes in the slow game, if he's equal in all other ways and roughly the same producer, is probably still better than a guy playing 20 minutes in the fast game. Please keep that in mind. But Kuzma, yay or nay, not starting? Not starting. They've already announced their starting lineup for tonight's game, and it is the starting lineup if you went back and watched my Pacific Division review, it is the starting 5 that I thought we'd see on opening night, and they are going with it this evening. But I am going to start at the top. Marcus Smart in. Very interesting. Yeah, I know Horford is out. He hurt himself in the last game, I think. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons he also got limited in that last game. That's obviously game 2. We'll get there in a second, but since somebody brought it up, he only played 15 minutes in that game. And his minutes are going to be amortized among 2 or 3 other guys. Daniel Tice will get some. Aaron Baines will probably get the most, who I believe played 10 minutes. Marcus Morris will get some. So Marcus Morris is going to go from 17 to 20. Daniel Tice is going to go from 14 to 18. And Aaron Baines is going to go from 10 to 16. You're going to see something like that. So there is not one single Al Horford is out. Who is the Valanciunas for today? I don't know. I'm sort of talking my way through it. My first guess would probably be Bobby Portis. You're asking me to pull a name out of my ass based on what I know. But again, I'm learning as I'm talking here, and appreciate all your feedback. And all right, so let's get into this here. So again, game's getting faster. First game, slowest over/under. The Heat visiting the Spurs. This is the first of 5 preseason games for the Miami Heat. They are without Bam Adebayo, Wayne Ellington, James Johnson, Josh Richardson, and Dion Waiters. That is the starting 2, the starting 3, the starting 4, the backup center, and another 2. It's really 2 of the 3, denominal shooting guards on this team. But they use a lot of multi-positional flexibility. But I do have a lot of interest in several guys on this team. If we go back and look at previous years, and I don't have my notes for that stuff up, and it's not when we only have 40 minutes worth me taking one to pull stuff up, I'll just get close off the top of my head. Spoelstra does not tend to play everyone in camp, even when everyone's healthy. There are teams have usually 20 guys on a training camp roster. Sometimes they only have 19 actual guys because somebody's injured and they throw them on the roster for shits and giggles. But usually they have 19, 20 guys. Some coaches tend to play 19, 20 guys. The Heat tend to play 16 guys, give or take. So the guys who are really two-way deals, they like having them in camp to practice, but they don't frequently get into the games. Now, that may be different tonight, but in theory, that would take your number of players who I think they've played exactly 16 the last 2 preseasons would go from 16 down to, in theory, 11. We're taking a number of guys out. Now, maybe that's 12 or something, but we still have some reason to look at some upside here. Now we're going to talk about the people who are out. We have the 2, the 2, the 3, and the 4 out. So this is a team with a lot of wings who play a lot of different positions here. You have, Jay Rich, who is out, who was my guy last year, who was probably bad for me more days than he was good. The days he was good, he was very good, and still a player I'm a huge fan of on that team. But you have Justice Winslow, who plays basically the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4. You have Magruder, who's going to pick up more time now. You have Olynyk, who's going to pick up a lot more time now. I think definitely without Adebayo, they're going to get some time at the 4, because now you have no James Johnson, and some time at the 5, where he works primarily as the backup center there. He doesn't tend to play very well on the court next to Whiteside, so it would not shock me if he didn't start. I don't know if they've actually released a starting lineup for this game. If someone can keep an eye on Ira Winderman. Anthony Davis-Locke played 33 minutes of the first game of the preseason last year. Yeah, but the fucked up thing tonight is Anthony Davis has a back-to-back. I know. How the fuck did that get scheduled? The Pelicans play again tomorrow. And there is research. If someone can't pull it up and link it in the next minute or 2, I will get into my files and come up with the... But I believe Alvin Gentry said I'm going to play those guys like 15 minutes plus or something. So you ain't getting no 33 minutes out of Anthony Davis. You ain't getting anything close. Again, I haven't looked at the pricing, but I'm guessing I'm pretty close to a full avoid there. Now, if he said 15 minutes plus and he meant 20 minutes, Anthony Davis might be good for 36. So that's, off the top of my head, that's going to depend if I have enough good places to spend the money other than Anthony Davis. If I do, yes, I'm going to be more interested in playing LeBron, who I think sees 22 minutes, as opposed to Anthony Davis, who I think sees 15 to 17 probably. Again, they play again tomorrow. But again, the Heat. I like Tyler Johnson. Goran Dragic is not 100%. He's another year older. He's got to be, I think Goran Dragic's 33 years old. Might be 32. But he's around there. Did not play summer league ball, or did not play for the Slovenian national team, because he played under Igor, who's now the head coach of the Suns. He did not play that this summer, which does keep him a little fresher, but he's also not 100%. He's had various nagging injuries. I don't think you get more than 15, 16 minutes of Goran Dragic, and so someone's going to have to play point guard. Now that's going to be some combination of Dwayne Wade, who, again, I don't think gets more than like 20 minutes. I'd be surprised if he was the guy they gave the run to, though if he's cheap enough, he could do that. But the other two guys are guys I like because they're also going to play the 2, and in the case of Justice Winslow, the 3 and the 4, and that's Justice Winslow and Tyler Johnson. I haven't looked at their prices. Obviously, Tyler Johnson has been occasionally a fantasy black hole, but as bargain guys in tournaments, I like Tyler Johnson plenty, and you could talk me into Justice Winslow in cash. He, I believe, again, I don't have it up, led this team in preseason minutes last year with 26 or 27, and just plays a lot of positions. When you tell me we're missing a 2, a 2, a 3, and a 4, and he plays the 2, the 3, and the 4 fairly well. Will Slack have minutes charts like yesterday? No, I did them last night, which is frustrating for me because they took me something like 2 hours, but I would have to spend 15 minutes to get them right, or put them out and have them bad, and both of those aren't things that I consider tenable. I will tell you that Eddie Lai, the other Eddie at Osmo.com, got with me last night and gave me a much better format, and I'll be uploading them in Excel every day starting tomorrow. So, off the top of my head, and I'll make a more detailed analysis in a minute, I like Tyler Johnson in tournaments. I like Justice Winslow, I'm presuming at his price, in just about everything. Rodney Magruder now probably gets north of 20-something minutes. Derek Jones Jr. Has been, there was the Roto World blurb. I know a lot of people watch the Roto World, where a lot of guys on the team said he's had like the highlight plays every day, and he's certainly looking like he should get more time. This would certainly be an opportunity for him to get some time too. So I don't like 198 over-under. I don't like playing the Spurs. But the Heat, not the worst team, and when you take 5 guys out of there, the remaining dependable guys on that team do get well more appealing for me. So, yeah, probably Justice Winslow, my favorite guy in this team. I like Rodney Magruder a lot. I like Derek Jones. I like Kelly Olynyk. I like Tyler Johnson. Let's go ahead and talk about the Spurs for a little bit. You know, Doc tends to be Pop tends to be a bit of a fucker when it comes to the preseason minutes. Last year, the most minutes did go to LaMarcus Aldridge, and I don't think it's crazy to think that he gets time here. You guys are killing me with the Slack messages. There's all kinds of stuff crawling up my ass here. Oh my god. Okay, take that. Make that smaller. Drag this. Kill that. Drag this into that. Make this bigger. Look at everyone who is spamming me with things in Slack so I can make sure I'm not missing something terribly credible. Bane starting, yeah, it's not surprising at all. That's what I've expected. They might log one more stint then. Yeah, so we do like the Celtics starters. We're getting there in a minute, but I was going to be reasonably happy with the other Celtics starters. They all played. They were supposed to play 20 minutes. Last time they played 20, 22, 22, 23, if memory serves. Now we're looking at a lot of them playing 26, 27. We like that. And they're back home. We like that as well. You know, Horford being out is probably more negative than positive, believe it or not. And Baines being in there, the team's going to run a little bit slower. It's going to be a little bit less efficient, but there will be a couple extra shots to go around as well. Starters today for today's Heat scrimmage. I don't know what that's doing for me. Someone get Ira Winderman. When they have the starters, he'll have him. So Ira Winderman on Twitter would be the guy we want to look at. Suppose said he isn't playing the starters a bunch of minutes, or anyone for that matter said we aren't going to go crazy tonight. Well, he's going to play somebody some goddamn minutes. But yeah, I'm definitely inclined towards the value guys on the Heat. Getting back to the Spurs, they are just a giant mess in the preseason. Always have been. They're going to play 18 guys today, give or take one. I don't have a problem running LaMarcus Aldridge out there in tournaments. I think he's going to be pretty low owned, and there is an upside there. He did lead this team in preseason minutes, I think the last 2 years in a row. Certainly at least one out of the two. They do give him some time. I don't hate running out some DeMar DeRozan for the exact same reason. You know, this team is very, very different from last year. They brought Bellinelli back in. They obviously got DeRozan. They have Jakob Poeltl back in there. I don't mind Poeltl at what I think is a cheap number. They are trying to figure out. They talk about him a lot, figure out what to do. But now they're minus Kyle Anderson, minus Danny Green, minus Kawhi, obviously, minus Tony Parker. So there's a lot of changes there. So there's no one on this team where I'm like, yes, I want to play that guy. But DeJounte Murray, DeMar DeRozan, LaMarcus Aldridge, Rudy Gay, Jakob Poeltl, all those guys strike me as reasonably compelling tournament plays with some sort of upside. I'll clarify a little bit when I get a second to look at stuff. But again, this is not a team we like. I found my notes from 2 years ago. Aldridge had the most minutes at 23.5. Then Kawhi. Gasol had 21. Parker 20. 19 guys played at least 4 games. 12 of them played 13.5 to 17 minutes a game. So generally, again, not a team we like to dance all over. But, you know, tournament plays on those guys I listed seems about right. Aldridge was top last 2 years. Last year, Aldridge had 26.2 in the preseason, which is the reason that he's the one if I'm going to fire that bullet, he's the one I'm probably most inclined towards. Last year's Spurs preseason Game 1 starters, 15, 17, 19, 18, 18. Bertans had 21 minutes, only went over 20. Yeah, and I think that's the most likely thing you see here, is most of the starters being in the high teens to the low 20s. They have, I believe this is their first of 5 games of their preseason. I don't have their schedule memorized off the top of my head. Second of 5 games in the preseason for the Charlotte Hornets. Again, we, of course, saw them on Friday night at home, although not at home, but in North Carolina against the exact same Celtics. We obviously had Malik Monk Day. He did not play on Friday, and his situation is exactly the same as it was then right now. He has been cleared to play. He is available to play, but he was cleared to play and available to play for that game too. I will look at his price. I assume it's still ridiculously cheap. I'm still pretty excited with him as a tournament play, but I have no reason to think that it's, you know, even the reason for him being rested was a little vague. Someone said he was injured. Then someone said, Mitch Kupchak, the GM, said he was behind on the schemes. Has he picked up the schemes in those 42 hours, including traveling from North Carolina to Boston? I would be reluctant. Now, if you don't mind some risk, Malik Monk is a guy who in 20 minutes can score 27 fantasy points. I do like this Charlotte system, who did pull out the win here, by the way, against a Boston team that ran its starters more than they said they were going to, and just a few minutes less net than the Charlotte starters. I think ended up playing a total of, like, collectively 4 or 5 minutes extra, so like a minute ahead. I like the system from what I saw of it, and I think we can also be excited by the fact we only saw 12 players for Charlotte in that game. Whereas Boston, as I had indicated was probably going to happen, played 14 or 15. You could very possibly be looking at something again here. I think James Borrego is going to keep a tighter rotation, so I do have some interest in these Charlotte guys specifically. I'd have to look at Zeller's price, but if he's still cheap, I think he's still worth taking a look at. Hernan Gomez, who was very effective in his time. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, I don't think is going to pick up another double-double in 21, 23 minutes, whatever the hell he laid out in that game. Mikal Bridges took 10 shots off the bench. That was exciting. I would be concerned with Dwayne Bacon. Not that I don't love bacon, but, you know who doesn't eat bacon? Monks. I don't know. I got nothing there. I was working on a wordplay and it just fell apart. But Malik Monk might play. That would peel off some of the 26 minutes that we got out of Bacon. Going back to the Slack to see what people are coming at me. Heat starters at 5 p.m. in San Antonio. Dragic, Magruder, Winslow, Jones Jr., and Whiteside. Yeah, for Myra Winderman. So, now, again, Spoelstra came out and he said he isn't going to play anyone. We're not going to get that crazy. But, you know, they're still going to play. I think those guys play a little north of I'll say Dragic plays 18 minutes, Magruder plays 21, Winslow plays 24, Derek Jones Jr. plays 20, and Whiteside plays 18. It's about where I would project the minutes for those guys. I like Jones Jr., Winslow, and Magruder. I like Kelly Olynyk. I'll stand behind those calls. But that is the starting lineup I would have expected out of them, so that is still going according to plan. The Celtics, again, Horford, we now know why he only saw 15 minutes. Again, it was that wrist. I do think those minutes get largely amortized out. You don't all of a sudden get Robbie Williams coming in and playing 20 minutes. And with his statement that the starters are going to get more time, I do think Baines is the first guy you look at there. Baines only played, I believe, exactly 10 minutes in the game on Friday. I do think this bumps him up probably closer to 18 or 20. Someone just asked me something in Spanish. Marcus Morris may get a few more minutes. Daniel Tice may get a few more minutes. Those guys would be price-dependent plays, obviously. But yeah, outside the starters, I don't think I want to go at anyone on... You said Marcus Smart was available? That would be a price play. He's a guy who can do steals and blocks and interesting things, but he's always better on FanDuel for that reason. I don't know. I can see. We'll look at some prices in a minute there. Let's go ahead and move on to the Pelicans visiting the Bulls. Again, the Pelicans have 5 games this preseason. This is their first, but they play again tomorrow because I have no fucking idea. On Saturday, Alvin Gentry said, we're not going to play those guys a lot of minutes. Someone asked about, quote, Davis and the other starters, and he responded with, we're not going to play those guys a lot of minutes, Gentry said on Saturday. We have to play them some to get timing down and things like that. We'll maybe just look at 15 minutes or so. Maybe 17, 20 would be the max, end quote. Okay, so it's a weird team to look at, history for. Last year, Boogie, Drew, and Brow all saw between 24.5 and 25.5 minutes in the preseason. The year before that, Anthony Davis played 5 of 6 games and averaged under 20 minutes per in that game, and all the kids got time. Buddy Hield played the most at 27. Solomon Hill played the second most at 27. Tim Frazier, 26.9. Terrence Jones, 25.8. So between 2 years ago and last year, he radically changed his strategy, and now today we are dealing with the fact that they're on the front end of a back-to-back. So, guys, I think you can safely have... Also, I believe Mirotic is questionable, which I don't know what it's going to do for here. But so my answer would be this. They're going to run deep. The guys... Also, Darius... one of the Darii is injured. I believe it's Darius Miller has a sore shoulder and not Darius Morris. But that's worth checking if someone wants to double-check me here. So, what guys are we interested in here? I'd be looking at bargain guys. I'd be looking at cheap guys. You can make an argument that, maybe Anthony Davis gets 20 minutes. Maybe he gets 22 minutes. There's a lot of this. We're not going to play much more than 20-minute stuff going on, and as you've noticed, it's not widely held to specifically. I would have interest in Frank Jackson, who in the Summer League put up 20-something and a half. I want bench guys a little bit more. I want cheap guys. So, off the top of my head, Frank Jackson would be interesting. Check Diallo would be interesting. Trevion Blewett would be interesting. Those are 3 guys who I'd be interested in. But again, all really sort of tournament guys. Who's the best shooting guards to play? I'll come back to the site-specific stuff again. I'm struggling to catch up, and we're 24 minutes from lock. But yeah, back-to-back for Pelicans. Don't overreact. The Bulls, first of 5 games. Fred Hoiberg said he would play the starters, quote, around 20 minutes. Although that quote does, I believe, precede the Markkanen injury. I should look that up. That's a good question. If someone can find that out. Do I think Lyles starts for Denver? No. Lyles is probably my favorite player on Denver, but I don't think he starts. We'll get there. But no, my guess is Lyles doesn't start. I think they probably start Monty or Malik Beasley, but it'll be interesting to see. So the Bulls are a team we actually like in the preseason. If you look at Garpax's preseason history, we were talking before about Spoelstra tends to play 16 guys. In his 2 years in having, I believe it was 5 and 7 preseason games, Fred Hoiberg played 13 guys last year and 14 guys the year before that. So he is, limiting his player pool also a fair amount. Starters may play only about 20 minutes, but bench guys sometimes get on top of that, a la Gorgie Jang. So I think I think Bobby Portis, Punch Bob there, does have a truly massive upside. He's going to come off the bench. He's going to get his time without Lauri Markkanen there. Yeah, and they're a little thinner at the big. So Bobby Portis is probably my favorite guy on this team. I don't mind Blakeney off the bench. Another guy we talked about in Summer League who I think gets 18-20 minutes here, and I'm guessing his price is pretty nominal. And I'd have to look at his price, but I don't in this matchup particularly hate Robin Lopez, who I think starts and gets himself about 20 minutes. Will Portis punch Mirotic tonight? They were very... I was proud of those boys. I felt it right here for those guys. They were on Twitter today congratulating each other and being nice and saying, we'll be professional, and Portis said something nice about Mirotic, and Mirotic said he was really evolving as a player, and God bless. I've come to blows with a few guys, and it's always nice when it works out. Nuggets, first of 4 games for the Nuggets. Gary Harris is out. Isaiah Thomas is out. Vanderbilt is out. Millsap is not supposed to play more than 15 minutes. Not much more than 20 minutes, I believe, is the exact word-for-word quote given by Coach Malone as far as this team goes. Portis or Carter Jr. in GPPs, what do you think? I'll take Portis. Carter Jr. is a really good defensive player. The offensive game is not as evolved. I think other guys are going to take the shots for him. Wouldn't shock me if Carter Jr. outscored Portis, but I would guess Portis gets a little more time, even though they're both going to come off the bench. Neither of them is going to start, and then he just takes a few more shots, and I would generally project him to score a little bit more than Bud, but Wendell Carter Jr. is just fine. So, yeah, Nuggets starters. I like Barton a little better with Gary Harris not out there. My favorite guy, though, would be Trey Lyles. He is going to be the number 1 scorer in this bench unit for a lot of the year, and certainly when you take Isaiah Thomas out of there, he's going to gun a fair bit off the bench, I think, because he's not a starter. Maybe that does portend him getting extra time. It's a weird thing that doesn't make sense. You should think if the players aren't getting more than 20 minutes, they wouldn't get more than 20 minutes, but you see teams all the time where you get Anthony Tolliver played 30 minutes yesterday, and Gorgie Jang played 26, and again, a couple people made some money and had him in the captain spot because I talked about that guy so much, because Thibodeau has done this 5 or 6 times where he's like, well, we're going to limit the starters to 20 minutes, and then various guys off the bench play in the high 20s or 30. That's just some weird shit, but that's something that happens. And Malone has done it too. So it wouldn't shock me, if randomly you get 26 minutes of Trey Lyles off the bench in a game where the starters only get 20 minutes. Also, Mike Malone specifically mentioned wanting to see more of and expecting to play more of, his exact words, Juancho Hernangomez and Trey Lyles in this game. Now, Juancho is a much less consistent DFS commodity than Trey Lyles, and it wouldn't... this is his 3rd year. He fell off incredibly last year. In his rookie year, he had some fairly decent games, plays the 3 and the 4, but he's sort of a poor man's Trey Lyles, and more minutes for Juancho would be 10. More minutes for Trey Lyles would be 22. So Trey Lyles is probably my favorite guy in this team. We'll talk about a couple others once we get to look at prices, but Malone pretty good with minutes for the starters. Last year, 25.6 for Barton, 24.3 for Harris, 24.2 for Chandler at the time, 23.2 for Murray, 22.8 for Millsap, 22.6 for Jokic. It's your top 6 guys playing 23 to 25. Year before that, Barton again was in first place at 28. So, yeah, some interest there. Then, finally, talking about the Lakers of Los Angeles. Announced starters as Rondo, KCP, Ingram, James, McGee. I guess when talking about this game, I should mention that apparently the floor is condensing. I don't know if it's hockey condensing or weather condensing. I frankly don't know offhand if they're in the fucking Staples Center, but I do know whatever floor they're playing in is sweaty, and that it is an arena that has had games canceled previously due to sweaty floor. So the long and the short of this is, if you are playing on a site without late swap, it is probably not worth the gamble because they have already canceled games there for this. And if it's close in the preseason, they're not going to do it. So I have no clue because I don't know how sweaty is. But let's take the example that it's 50-50 to play. I don't think it's worth playing anyone because, again, Not everyone is going to know that or be that smart, so you are going to still get 33% ownership on LeBron and all these various other guys. If I thought that it was a well-informed constituency, if we were dealing with people like we're dealing in a... I will look at my research. I thought I saw somewhere that said this specific arena also had a previous wet floor incident. Someone please back me up. There's been several wet floor games. Someone check on the specific arena, please. Someone's telling me I'm wrong, and if I'm wrong, I want to correct myself. But I, on my phone in a wedding, was scrolling through stuff, and I was pretty sure I saw them say, this place had an issue before. So someone please correct. No, I could be wrong. Wait, I am right. Okay, I was right. Yes, this it has happened in this building before. Favorite guys to pay up for, I will come to in a second. No problem, no problem. No, I appreciate you trying to help. There was the time in Philadelphia, there's time in Milwaukee, there's been wet floor issues any number of places. This team is deep. You're going to start Rondo, KCP, Ingram, LeBron at the 4, and JaVale McGee. I think LeBron plays more than 20 minutes. I think Rondo plays more than 20 minutes just because I don't know how much time they really want to throw at Caruso or one of the tertiary guys they can play at point guard there. So I think you get 22 to 24 minutes of Rondo. I think you get 22, 24 minutes of LeBron. Maybe that much of Ingram. There's a little more competition for KCP's spot. They want to get Hart out there. They want to get Svi Mikhailiuk out there. How many minutes to lock? 16. And again, Walton, a coach who's okay with preseason minutes. Again, last year Kuzma and Lonzo got like 28 and 29, and the year before that, D'Angelo Russell got 30 and Randall got 26.4. But those were both young players who were coming in and very impressive, and there isn't quite that much of this here. So, yeah, Mo Wagner, I believe, is out as well with an injury, but like Svi Mikhailiuk is an interesting guy to look at here. But I'm guessing they run it pretty evenly. But to get back to where I started, I probably, if I'm FanDueling or wherever the hell else would be playing that does not have late swap, would probably skip the game because I think you can put together a reasonably compelling lineup other ways. If you're playing somewhere with late swap, then I'd want to play as much of this game as possible because many people don't know how to late swap and you'll end up with commensurate under ownership as opposed to having over ownership. It was my understanding by that LeBron quote that he wouldn't play at all. I think LeBron plays under 20 if at all. It was my understanding by the LeBron quote that he wouldn't play at all. They're playing in San Diego, apparently, according to what someone else just said. I don't have that verified myself. I'm going to look up the LeBron thing because that obviously seems like a key person we should know about. So I'm going to go see what LeBron says about how much he's going to play because someone said there's a quote, and if there's a quote indicating he's not going to play much, I missed it. I knew that he was going to play, and they agreed he was going to play, and that other people had guessed. FanDuel does not currently have late swap, and I don't expect it. I'm reading. I apologize. Lonzo won't play. Yeah, I mean, all these are the things I've said. When asked how many minutes he remained coy, it seems likely he'll play limited minutes, but I've yet to see either Walton or James say. I have no idea. I don't even know how many preseason games we have. I'm not going to play that many minutes. I don't know what that means. Walton said he'd play between 1 and 48 minutes. I mean, I think people are going to be... I don't know. I still think he gives you 20 plus minutes, but again, I'm guessing. 13 minutes and 30 seconds left. I am opening DraftKings. I'm going to start at the bottom. We start at the bottom, we'll end at the top, and just start looking at names and guys I'm slightly interested in. Alex Caruso at the minimum price would be just tournaments for me, but I have no issue with him at 4,000. I would not play him alongside Rondo because there's some obvious negative correlation between those two guys, but I'd expect him to get the back up there. Monty Morris for $4,000 for the Nuggets. I would have interest in tournaments. I'll jump up and down if I see someone I love and be like, God, I can't wait to play this guy. About the same level, no problem with Blakeney in tournaments. About the same level again, Frank Jackson, I have a good bit of interest in tournaments. These guys are all the minimum. About the same level of interest in Blewett for New Orleans. Again, would just be tournaments for me. I'm curious. I'm going to click on guys as they come up who I'd actually want to play in cash and see if there are enough of them, because there's obviously a lot of uncertainty going on with basically all the games here. No, I would play Rodney Magruder in cash. I'm fine with that. At $4,000, that would not bother me at all. Juancho Hernan-Gomez would just be tournaments for me. Malik Beasley would be a pretty strong tournament. Oh, I'm sorry, that's Michael Beasley. Whoa, yeah, almost fell sideways into that one. You can tournament Michael Beasley. Anyone who's seen him on the Knicks or the Bucks or any number of 7 or 8 other teams knows that he can really pile up some points pretty quick. I like Wendell Carter Jr. at 4,400. I think that's a strong play. They want to see him play too, so I think that's pretty close to cash worthy. Torrey Craig is another guy who could actually end up getting that start for Denver. It wouldn't surprise me to see him. So no, I don't think it ends up being Trey Lyles, but I don't want it to be Trey Lyles. I want him to come off the bench. Check Diallo in tournaments is fine. Probably moving off Bacon because if Monk returns, it'll limit him a little bit. You could certainly tournament Tice. I legitimately like Justice Winslow. Contributes in a lot of ways. Plays a lot of positions. Tournament Josh Hart. I very much like Trey Lyles. So we've got your forwards all set up there. 4,900 is more than I would have liked to have paid for Robin Lopez. I thought he might be cheaper. If I was building, my 3rd or 4th tournament lineup would have Malik Monk in it for the 4% ownership. Jakob Poeltl in tournaments. I don't really want a Justin Holiday at 5,200. Bridges in tournaments is fine. I don't really want to eat Twan Moore. Cody Zeller is still fine to run out there at 5,400. Hernan Gomez is still fine to run out there at 5,500. I still prefer him to Cody Zeller. He's out. He's out. If Marcus Smart is in, I have a little bit of tournament interest in him because he's marked as out on DraftKings, so you could get some very tasty ownership there. Kelly Olynyk is a great tournament play at 5,500. Bobby Portis, I'm obviously a big fan of at 5,600. Rondo in a game with some pace, I can certainly get behind him at 5,700. I'm not going to play Elfrid Payton because I think he plays 15 minutes and they have 4 real point guards on that team. I don't mind Brown. I don't mind Tatum. Again, with the news that these guys are going to get an extra shift. With the price raise, it sort of takes me off Rozier at the moment, although I think someone told me he was proportionally cheaper on FanDuel. I would have some interest there. But Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum at those prices, I have some interest in definitely. You could tournament Kuzma. He has that kind of upside, but again, you're now spending $6,000 and change on him. I'm really curious what the price up options are that I'm going to want to pay for. But we started at the bottom, and fam, we're up near the top now. Someone is sending me what I believe to be a LeBron quote, which I want to read. They love Svi out of camp, and he makes things. Yes, Svi for 4,000. When asked, he didn't really want to play. So last year, I pretty much didn't play the whole preseason besides a half, he said, so I have no idea. I don't know how many games we have. I'm not going to play that much minutes. LeBron. That many minutes. Come on. The language of Shakespeare. I don't know. I don't need preseason games at this stage in my career to get ready. I feel great. Those are the LeBron quotes. Right, okay, so I had read all of those. It seems strange to me that they would play LeBron that little. That maybe they will, but some of what they have to be doing has to be figuring out who plays well with LeBron in a game environment, right? So if you're going to play him, and he's a guy who averaged, I don't know what the number is, but 36 minutes a game last year, 20 or 22 is still not, 0 freaking minutes to throw at the guy. So I understand what you're saying. But thank you. I appreciate you repeating the quotes. I appreciate you taking the time to cut and paste those. Don't really want a Dragic. You could tournament Jamal Murray. You could tournament Jabari Parker. But again, ACL, first game, sang 20 minutes on the starters. I would rather play Portis by quite a bit for less money there. No problem with Gordon Hayward. No problem with Nick Batum in that system. No problem with Will Barton in that system. God, I hate Zach LaVine as a basketball player, but he's a pretty decent fantasy basketball player. I'd rather play Zach LaVine than $100 more for Chris Dunn. Don't play Lonzo. Don't play Paul Millsap. Aldridge in tournaments, I think, is quite possibly worth the gamble until we get news. I would rather play Aldridge than DeRozan. Guys who come into... Now, this can be less for DeRozan because he's less of a system guy and he breaks guys down one-on-one. And Popovich has come out and said, look, I'm not going to try to turn DeMar DeRozan into somebody else. He's who he is. So we're going to let him do him. That being said, guys tend to show up for the first time in San Antonio and take a while to adapt. Powell came in and was shit for 4 of the first 5 months. Aldridge came in and was shit for a year. So maybe DeRozan comes in and plays appreciable minutes and is the same DeMar DeRozan we've always known and loved. But I think there's a reasonable chance that that doesn't happen. Obviously, the prices here are pretty expensive. I would rather spend $200 more and play Kyrie Irving over Kemba Walker. Jokic is questionable, but he was full participant in practice on Friday, and I expect him to play. And I just love him so much. And then you have James and Davis at the top. Davis's coach said he would play 15 to 20 minutes. LeBron James, there is no specific numbers. I'm sorry, there were specific numbers. Luke Walton said he would play between 1 and 48 minutes. LeBron makes it sound like it wouldn't be that much. So it's just a big-ass gamble there. Maybe you get him at very low ownership. But again, I just clicked on names I didn't mind for cash as I was going through, and I came up with Rondo, Magruder, Hernangomez, Winslow, Carter Jr., Barton, Lyles, and Portis, and that left me with $10,000. So, yeah, there's room to take out 2 of those guys and play 2 of the 3 of James or Davis or Jokic. If I had to guess right now, I guess I would project Anthony Davis. I mean, my top overall scorer is pretty close to a 5-way tie, or 4-way tie between Irving and Jokic and Davis and LeBron. And there's just a lot of minute guessing there. Batum or Hayward for a GPP, I would probably play Batum for ownership. You will have less. Hayward looked pretty good, and anyone who follows the news. How many minutes is Okara White going to see? I would not think that many. 15. Rank your top 5 players each position tonight. Need a FanDuel GPP center. Okay, I'll look at FanDuel real quick. That's rank top 5 for each position. That's 25 dudes in 5 minutes. So if I took 12 seconds to answer each one of them, that would be the entire remainder of the show. So that I cannot do. I will say that the 20K on FanDuel is going to overlay. It's taken in right now about 16.8K and paying out 20. So it is not going to rake at all. The $8 tournament on DraftKings with, come on, you can do it. Oh yeah, you're not taking a good time to slow down on me, computer. Thanks for the hard work. My pleasure. I really, really enjoy this. Is it 1682 out of 2205 entries at $8 a piece? That means it's taking in 1,700 entries at 8 each would be 13,600. It's not quite there, so it's gonna. My best guess is that the main tournament on DK will rake 2%, and the main tournament on FanDuel will not rake and overpay 2%. So DraftKings is going to pay out 98 cents on the dollar, and FanDuel is going to pay out like $1.02 on the dollar. And I could have if I saw your note 5 minutes ago. That's a fair point. I did the best I could. Yes, I definitely could have gone through. You give me some specifics, X or Y, I'll happily answer them. LeBron or Davis, DK cash. I suppose in cash I have to take Anthony Davis, simply because I know he'll play 15 to 20 minutes apparently, and that means I know he'll get me 22 to 37 fantasy points. LeBron could play 12 minutes. So in cash, where I'm minimizing downside, yeah, I probably play Anthony Davis and not LeBron James. Who can rattle off Eddie's cash plays again? Rajon Rondo, Rodney Magruder. I said Hernangomez, but that's really a tournament play, so that's not a cash play. Justice Winslow, Wendell Carter Jr., Will Barton, Trey Lyles, Bobby Portis. I like all those guys in cash. And I don't mind, like, Anthony Davis in cash. Like, I'll project Anthony Davis for 17 minutes and 31 fantasy points. He's probably in the best possible lineup. Remember this late yesterday? I was like, look, the guys for Golden State are going to play 20 minutes. I literally during the show said, you know, someone's going to play 20 minutes and score 28 fantasy points. With this few games and all the value out there, that's probably still in the best lineup. And they were. The best lineup still had Steph in his 34 and Durant in his 27 and Clay in his 27. So when I've got a ton of value guys who I think for 4K can give me 20, 25, 30, your best possible lineup quite possibly includes taking the 30 from LeBron and Anthony Davis. 5,400 left for the forward spot on DK. Who should I play? Portis would be 56. I don't hate Rudy Gay in a tournament. I'd probably play McCall Bridges. Am I getting my Bridges right? No, he's Miles Bridges. Miles Bridges. Sorry, McCall Bridges is the other one. I'd probably play Miles Bridges. Showed some nice upside last time. Still priced a little too cheaply. So, yeah, I would probably play Bridges at that price. More specific questions, please. Things like this I can answer in 10 seconds that are great. Malik Monk appears to be a go. Yeah, I would have some interest in Malik Monk. I gotta imagine he's pretty close to the floor. 5,000! His price went up, naturally, as you would expect when you screw half the... well, whatever. Still playable for that reason. Going back to the Slack, I missed a couple questions there. Sweet D, Willie, or Portis in cash? It's a good question. I'll play Portis for the matchup. Kemba thoughts? I think he's fine in tournaments. I like him a little less than Kyrie, but he'll be under-owned less than Kyrie. He'll be owned less than Kyrie, is what I'm saying. How'd I do last night? Did I play at all? I'm not allowed to play. It's illegal. That's why I can sit here and talk to you guys up to lock every day. I played for 1,500 consecutive days or something, but I work for a DFS site during the day. That makes it illegal to play on a DFS site during the night. We are coming up to lock here. Levine or Batum? I play Batum. 30 seconds. I like Kemba. I do like Kemba. I like the way it looks in that offense. He didn't shoot especially well in that last game, though he did pick up like 3 steals and a block or something. But yeah, it's all of a one-game sample size. So I like Kemba. I would not play him in cash versus other guys around his price point. I would play Kyrie more in cash. Again, indicating that those guys are going to pick up some extra time is pretty exciting for me, that these guys are going to see extra shifts. So, you know, I do have some lingering interest in, you know, the Celtics starters for that reason. Holiday, I need to know which one you mean. They're both playing. Drew Holiday, they're on the back-to-back. I think he plays 15, 16 minutes. I'm not doing it. Which site are paid from nowadays? I work at awesomeo.com. At some point, I'm sure they're going to pay me. I'm just kidding. Oh, let me see if okay, I was logged into my blank account that can't open tournaments. Let me log in as my buddy and see if I can get ownership on. It's obviously not going to be as impressive. It'll just be the first game, but I'm curious what you're going to get, like Winslow and Magruder and those guys at. So let me do this. So I got this in a DK GPP. Kyrie, Tyler, Justice, Brow, Portis, Rondo, TYES. Oh, that's going to be Trey Lyles. Jokic, what do you think? I love it. I mean, you can make some monster teams here. Winslow, 12%. Yeah, like we'll see, but I'm a big fan of that. So, yeah, Winslow, 12% for me all day. Okay, I'm logged in here. Let me see if I can get a look at some ownership in the big term. Is 15K. Wow, 75 to 15 in one day. But again, yeah, if you're playing on, you know, DK, keep an eye out for the floor. And that's, you know, hopefully, now again, the floor game is the last game of the day. So keep an eye out for news on the floor before the Bulls and Pelicans game starts. If it's still up in the air, you may want to go heavy on the Bulls and the Pelicans. That's the other reason why I would have played Anthony Davis over LeBron and Cash. Anthony Davis's game is almost certainly going to play. Number 1 owned player, Hassan Whiteside. I can see that. I don't think he gets more than, say, 18 minutes here, but he can do some real damage in 18 minutes, even if the matchup isn't superlative. DeMar DeRozan, 16.55. I got Justice Winslow at 15.61 in what I think is the biggest DK tournament. Olenek at 15, good. Derek Jones Jr. at 10.76. Aldridge at 8. See, I like Aldridge at 8. DeJounte Murray at 7. Tyler Johnson at 5. Rodney McGruder at 5. Goran Dragic at 4.6. Jakob Poeltl at 2.3. I really like. Rudy Gay at 1.7%. I really like. Dwayne Wade at 1.4. Again, you think they take it easy on the veterans to start. 0.66 on Bam Adebayo. That's not good. Yeah, so injured guys, 0.17 on Wayne Ellington, 0.66 on Bam Adebayo, 0.28 on Dion Waiters, which is impressive because he's been injured forever. You'd think someone would have noticed at some point over the last couple of years that guy isn't in there. Okaro White, 0.2, Bam. Chad Hutchinson, sure. No Bam, no James Johnson. Whiteside should play. Yeah. I mean, they will run small a lot. Like, Eric Spoelstra is a coach that does not want big-ass traditional center. Like, he's a big fan of making every guy on the court flexible. That's why they really like Justice Winslow and you know, really want to make something out of him. But certainly if Whiteside gets going, we've seen times that they give him some extra run, but especially in the preseason, I think they stretch it out and play, you know, a couple more dudes. But we'll see. But I would take the under on 20 minutes for Whiteside. Just a guess there. Last couple comments before I go digest, because oh god, crab rangoon and like 4 slices of wedding cake and steak and let's see. This is a lineup, I presume. Rozier. I mean, like, I liked Rozier last time, and he was good. We talked about him. He was like 4,600 last time. Now his price came up by $1,000, and they said Kyrie's going to get more minutes, and Marcus Smart is back. That's 3 bad things for Terry Rozier. That being said, you know, can do some good things. Levine, sure. Barton, I like. Lamb, Okaro White. Someone's really stuck on Okaro White. If Okaro White goes out and gets 20 fantasy points, I apologize for not being there with you. Portis, Davis, and Jokic, obviously those 3 big guys at the end, I like a lot. Cody Zeller out for rest on Sunday. No, I didn't know Cody Zeller was out. Oh my god, all the Hernan Gomez. Parker, Williams, and Zeller will rest on Sunday. Okay, well, that was, you know, kind of on time because that game hasn't started yet. So if you have late swap, you should still be able to adjust these guys. And again, most of you play on DK, so that's Tony Parker, Marvin Williams, and Cody Zeller are apparently out. Also, if you want to be smart and use late swap the way you should, as opposed to like a complete donkey, this gives you, you know, a good opportunity to talk about playing more. Hernan Gomez is the obvious first choice there. He'll probably start, and Biyombo will back him up now. Not having Marvin Williams, you know, you could get some more time out of MKG, who is coming off a big game. With Zeller and Williams sitting out this game, the Hornet starters are Walker, Lamb, Batum, Kid Gilchrist, and Hernan Gomez. See, it's almost like I knew that was going to happen. Any chance of points projections on the late slate? I gotta be honest, I've done a good 60 hours work on my day job this week and a good 70 or more on my night job, which is what this is. I'm probably gonna take this one off for a little bit. Didn't get to watch any football. Didn't get to, like, I'm pretty wasted, boys. So especially knowing that I'm gonna have to hit it hard for the next 12 days in a row, probably gonna take a little evening time off tonight rather than on probably what will be the smallest or second smallest day of the entire preseason, because again, you could see how small the GPPs were. So with fewer people and just for the late slate, probably won't put the time into the minutes projections per game. Just being honest. Thoughts on shaving before a wedding? That's not cool. Apparently I'm opposed. Although I'll be honest, if I hadn't spent all night and gotten up at 6:30 in the morning to look at basketball stuff, I probably would have tweezed a couple gray hairs and shaved before the wedding. But no, old man Graybeard was out there. Do we know the Bulls starters? Yeah, I like Frank Jackson too. Do we know the Hernan Gomez over Portis now, right? Yeah, no, there's a real chance you get like 26 minutes out of Hernan Gomez, and that can be 45 fantasy points or something. So, yes, all the Hernan Gomez you can get. Spurs starters, Murray, DeRozan, Ray, Aldridge, Gasol. Interesting, Gasol did get the start. That was probably the most likely scenario. Still can't believe they took a shot at my beard. But that's good. That's good. You guys contributing the news makes life easier. Do we know the Bulls starters? You're going to get Chris Dunn, Zach LaVine. Yeah, we know the Bulls starters. It's going to be Chris Dunn, Zach LaVine, Denzel Washington, Denzel Valentine. Who are they playing at the 3? I'm having a mind blank all of a sudden. Justin Holiday, they're moving up, and Robin Lopez. I don't think they've specifically said those other guys, but that's what it's going to be. Good question. But yeah, that's what it'll be. I don't think Hoiberg has specifically said, these are my starters, but those are going to be his starters, I think. Valentine's the one who's out. Okay. It's Holiday, and I'm getting my wings confused. All right, I'm going back into my notes. Too much champagne. No Markin and no Valentine. Okay. I have done. Oh, it's Jabari Parker. It's down to the 4. That's what it is. It's all right. So it's Dunn, LaVine, Holiday, Parker, Lopez. This is going to start. I don't know if they said it, but I'm pretty sure regardless. Got me there for a second. I can tell when I look at them, but just based on names, I get Justin Holiday and Denzel Valentine more confused than I should, which I shouldn't, because Denzel Valentine's a much better basketball player, and Justin Holiday just throws up bricks all day long, but it is what it is. I guess Valentine's out. Monk or Barton? I mean, Barton certainly in any cashy context, especially when you take Gary out of there. You know, Malone said they wouldn't play much more than 20 minutes, so that's better than a lot of guys are going to do on several teams. He probably gets 22, 24. Barton has led that team in minutes the last 2 preseasons. So, yeah, I'm going to play Barton over Monk. Now, in a tournament, I like playing Monk, but he's 5,000, and so anyhow, everyone make some adjustments. Send me tweets if you have any further questions. If you have specific, projections questions, who do you project for more points, Guy A or Guy B? Tweet or Discord me, and I will absolutely attempt to, or Slack. I will try to get back at you, but yeah, I'm a touch drunk and a great amount tired, so I'm going to take a break for a little bit. I will be back tomorrow, probably an hour and a half before lock, as it's a more substantive slate if memory serves. And I know the Pelicans are on it, so how does fantasy basketball work? First year trying. Okay, I guess I'll stay for a minute. Fantasy basketball, not unlike fantasy football, your players accrue points in the same way that for doing feats on a field. So in fantasy football, frequently running for a yard is worth 1/10 of a point, a touchdown is worth 6 points, throwing for a touchdown is worth 4 points, kicking a field goal is worth 3, maybe longer. And so your players accrue points, and you want to accrue as many points as you can on your team. In basketball, you tend to get about a point for a point. A 3-pointer shot gets you either 3 or sometimes 3.5. Some sites have a bonus for a 3-pointer. Some sites give you bonuses for double-doubles and triple-doubles. Rebound tends to be about 1.25. Assist tends to be about 1.5. Steals and blocks are worth 2 or 3. And you draft a team of guys in some way, shape, or form, frequently using a salary cap, where guys have a salary for the day and you have only so many dollars to spend and you use it to select a team. And yeah, the team with the most points accrued by their athletes wins the contest. Fantasy basketball. Hope somebody recorded that. Put it on Wikipedia. No problem. So yeah, everyone get yourself some Guillermo Hernan Gomez. Think about a couple other Charlotte players as well. And bon chance, mes amis.